Welcome to the 30-second drill, where our takes are as accurate as a moody field goal for the win, but we don't shy away from criticism and we'll cop it on the chin when required. We are ridiculously bullish on Australia's team, the Detroit Lions. We still think Staley sucks. We've not only abandoned Mac Jones, but we're contemplating joining in on the chorus of It's Time to Go Bill. I'm Josh Reese, here with my colleague, Shane Campbell. How you doing, Shane?
Doing well, thanks, mate. How are you?
Yeah, just not really caring about the Patriots anymore, so I'm doing good.
You can't jump on the Lions bandwagon, mate. That's mine. It's established. Go away.
I'll do whatever I want.
No, stay off it.
Go Lions. We're just going to go straight into my overreactions. Quarterbacks will not improve in spite of coaching McDermott and Staley. If you're out there and playing, it means you're healthy, so you had a bad game, Herbert. Brock Purdy is still the dude for the 49ers. Malik Cunningham had a better game than Mac Jones. The Dolphins Eagles game is potentially the game of the week, but I bet it's going to be boring. Is Packers versus Broncos the most uninspiring game ever? If New England get rid of Bill, do you give Mac one more chance? No. Jacksonville, calling this one early as well, are the Kings of the South, which leaves me with anointing Jacksonville and Detroit as kings of their division already. That is my overreaction.
Got a few things. So the Chiefs are not a king of the division yet?
No, not yet.
Oh, okay, well then. You said... So who did you say had a better game than Mac Jones?
Malik Cunningham.
Did he do one handoff? Got sacked. That's good. You know what my favourite thing about that Raiders game? That the two quarterbacks that played for the Raiders used to be on the Patriots, and they both played better. So Mac was the fourth best QB that took the field that game.
Hey, and technically, Jacoby Myers has thrown some passes, so let's say fifth.
He threw a great one last year, that lateral. Good times. Right, go.
Let's get into it. We have the Jags at the Saints. The Jags are sitting at 4-2. The Saints are 3-3. The Jags had a winner over the Colts, 37-20, and the Saints lost to the Texans, 20-13. The Jags are starting to roll. Another win this week. Lawrence isn't putting out the stats, but they're winning. I'd rather my quarterback be competent, but I'd rather wins over stats, backing this team to make the AFC Championship still. As for the Saints, they're an average team with a below-average quarterback, and they lost to an average team with an above-average quarterback. That's all I have on that one.
Yeah, I don't have a great deal to say on this game. Like, Lawrence cleared up the fumbles, which was really good, and this offense is starting to look like we thought it would at the start of the season. The Saints, this team's weak link is Derek Carr, which was surprising to me, as I honestly thought this team would suit him perfectly. Great defense, good run game, quality wide receivers, but if he doesn't step up, the Saints may be looking elsewhere sooner than planned. I am taking the Jags.
Oh yeah, I'm taking the Jags. Moving on to the Raiders at the Bears. The Raiders are sitting at 3-3, and the Bears are 1-5. The Raiders coming off a win against the pathetic Patriots, 21-17, and the Bears are losing to the Vikings, 19-13. Over to you, Shane.
Raiders, I don't really care about this team. I just love that they have Jacoby Myers. He gave us a lunatic lateral last year for the Patriots, and now he'd be their best receiver if they kept him. The Bears, it's a shame about Fields getting injured, but he looked much more like the week 1 to 4 Fields rather than the weeks 5 to 6. If he's out for any period of time, he should start looking for a new team, because this team will be drafting quite high with theirs or the Panthers pick. I'm taking the Raiders.
Like the Saints last week, what do you take from beating the Pats these days? Unfortunate about Jimmy's injury. Was Hoyer actually better than Jimmy in the game? I don't know. I don't care. It was a shame about Fields, but it was still another poor performance, which is just what the Bears are. Was their 2 previous games just luck? I don't know. They're drafting high. They're going to take a quarterback. They're slowly drifting into irrelevancy around the same time every single season. That's all I've got for you Bears fans. So we're moving on to...
Sorry, who are you taking?
Oh, sorry. Raiders, because I'm not an idiot.
Also taking the Raiders.
Yeah. Now moving on to the Browns at the Colts. The Browns are sitting at 3-2. The Colts 3-3. The Browns being the first team to beat the 49ers this year with a 19-17 win, thanks to a missed field goal, and the Colts losing to the Jags 37-20. The Browns' defense is incredible. Yes, they won by a missed field goal, but they were on their backup to a backup, and they will absolutely cause Gardner Minshew some fits. The Colts will probably surprise some teams with Minshew, but it's not going to be the Browns. I'm taking the Browns. They could have Mac Jones at quarterback this week and still beat the Colts. That's how confident I am with the Browns.
I disagree because Mac Jones would score a fair few for the Colts. The Browns.
That's a fair call.
Fun fact: the Browns' offense have given up more touchdowns than the Browns' defense this year. So this Browns defense, this is probably the best in the league. I don't even know if it's a probably. It's just been unstoppable. If they could stumble onto a competent quarterback, they'll definitely be playing in January. Watson's injury is apparently worse than reported, but they should win this week no matter who's under center. Colts, Minshew is a quality backup, but when teams can plan for him, you can see why he is a backup. I'm taking the Browns.
On to the Bills, the Patriots. The Bills are 4-2. The Patriots are 1-5. The Bills scraping past the Giants, 14-9, and the Patriots lost to the Raiders, 21-17. Take it away, Shane.
So Josh Allen threw a ridiculous touchdown that only he could in this game, but I think he's the only one who would actually try it because it was a stupid throw, but it worked out. 3 quarters without scoring will only work against a few teams, and luckily they've got another one this week. They could probably go 4 quarters without scoring and somehow still beat the Patriots. Patriots, this team is so fun to watch, and not because they're any good, but because I want to see how bad it can get. They've got no run game, no talent at wide receiver, best 2 players are out, defensive players are out, and no one is playing worse football right now. Taking the Bills.
It's all pretty accurate. This is Bills, unless Josh Allen does it, this team doesn't perform. McDermott should have a lot more pressure on him. Saleh has surpassed him in division as the best defensive coach, and because Bill is on the way out, he gets second best by default. He's kept his job simply because Brady left the division, and the Bills are going to waste Josh Allen's career because of this spud of a coach. As for the Patriots, Jesus, Mac, it's insipid. His panic-stricken throw for the pick was indicative of who the Pats are. Not shocking that one of the touchdowns was a direct snap to the running back because they don't even trust him to hand it off. The safety, I don't know what to say anymore, man. I'm picking the Bills. Moving on to the Commanders at the Giants. The Commanders are 3-3. The Giants are 1-5. The Commanders beating the Falcons 24-16, with the Giants losing 14-9 to the Bills. The Commanders, this team is so strange. They just beat the Cardinals and the Broncos. They got destroyed by the Bills, just lost to the Eagles, destroyed by the Bears, and they beat the Falcons. I don't know what's going to happen, but the Giants suck, so they should win. As for the Giants, I don't know if Dable's a good coach or a good offensive coordinator. Were they lucky last year in the playoffs to be facing the Vikings, who just couldn't do anything on defense? I don't know what this side is. Well, I do. They're crap. I'm taking the Commanders.
Commanders. Hal had the best protection he's had all year, and he looked pretty good. 3 touchdowns, no picks. It was good enough for a team that wants to be defensive-led. I think he only threw for 150 yards, so wasn't required to do a great deal. The Giants, this offense is so unbelievably bad, and Daniel Jones, like all players named Jones that play quarterback, is absolutely terrible. Not many things to look forward to for this team for the rest of the season. I'm taking the Commanders.
Moving to Falcons at the Bucks. The Falcons sitting at 3-3. The Bucks 3-2. The Falcons coming off a loss to the Commanders 24-16, and the Bucks losing to Australia's team, the Detroit Lions 20-6. Over to you, Mr. Shane.
I could not care less about this game, and the division is a dumpster fire. The Bucks were outplayed against Australia's team. Someone has to win this game, unless it's a draw, and we do not hope for an extra 10 minutes of this rubbish. I'm taking the Bucks.
Good, solid, to the point. For the Falcons, I expected more from them against the Commanders, but Ritter showed he's probably not the best fit here. 3 interceptions, killed him. As for the Bucks, that's what I expected from the Bucks. Let's see if teams now have film and have figured out the Bucks and they know who they are. I'm taking the Falcons. Let's move on real quick. On to Australia's team, the Detroit Lions at the Baltimore Ravens. The Lions are sitting 5-1, equal first in the NFC, and the Ravens are sitting at 4-2. The Lions coming off a dominating win against the Buccaneers 20-6, and the Ravens beating the Titans in London 24-16. As for the Lions, it's time to see what the Kings of the North are made of. I've poured my glass of delicious blue Kool-Aid, and I am nearly ready to drink it. If they emerge with the W this week, they can take the NFC, but this is just like the Seattle game. They better not stuff this one up. As for the Ravens, 6 weeks in, and there's a lot that this team needs to improve on. Up against the best run defense in the league, I'm expecting a Lions victory, and we're going to see if Lamar Jackson is a competent thrower of the ball, and someone here doesn't think so.
Never said he wasn't a competent thrower. He's too long. No, this is my time. In the two throws,
the clock hasn't started.
In the 2 games that they lost, he threw some absolute shanks. Just missed. I don't give a fuck. I'm running this. This is going in the podcast. I'm not editing this out because you want to talk shit. In the 2 games, exactly. In the 2 games they lost, if he made the simple throws to open receivers, they would have won those games. That's what I said.
Can I mute you?
All right. So the Lions start the clock, or don't. Dan Campbell has this team playing some of the best football in the league, and they're a complete team on all 3 phases. The run game stalled, and Jared Goff stepped up. A win this week, and the number 1 seed is a realistic goal. And this team finally goes into every week expecting to win, and I expect them to this week. Lamar had the best game he's ever had against the Titans, and probably the best first half any QB will have any half this season. I've been critical of Lamar's passing, Josh, in their 2 losses. He cleaned that up this week, and let's see if he can repeat it against one of the most informed teams in the league. I'm taking the Lions.
Change your graphic, buddy. On to the Steelers at the Rams. Steelers sitting at 3-2, the Rams 3-3. The Steelers coming off a 14-day rest for the bye, and the Rams coming off a win against the Cardinals 26-9. Over to you, Shane.
The Steelers are rested and ready to go. The defense will smother the Rams' offense, and Pickett just needs to call more audibles and ignore Matt Canada, the offensive coordinator. The Rams, I cannot get a read on this team. They protected the ball and looked dominant against a less than mediocre team last week. I'm taking the Rams, and I'm not sure why.
Arrested Steelers defense is going to have Stafford running for his life. That's pretty much all I have on Pittsburgh. As for the Rams, they did what was required against the Cardinals, but they're going to get rolled by the quarterbackless Pittsburgh Steelers. Taking the Steelers, though. On to Cardinals at the Seahawks. The Cardinals coming off another loss. They're 1-5, and they lost 26-9 to the Rams. And the Seahawks are sitting at 3-2, coming off a 17-13 loss to the Bengals. The Cardinals, I have nothing to say until Kyler Murray gets back or if he comes back. As for the Seahawks, they're good, but Geno isn't the man to lead them to the promised land. But I'd back the organization in to find the right quarterback in the next draft or 2 and have them winning playoffs again. I'm taking the Seahawks because why would I take the Cardinals? Over you, mate.
The Cardinals, they are usually somewhat competitive for a team that we didn't think wanted to win a game at the start of the year, but they accidentally won one. Seahawks, this offense lost them the game against the Bengals. The defense held the Bengals to 62 yards in the second half, and I think they only gave up a field goal. Seattle offense had 237 second half yards and only put up 3 points. Just not good enough coming off the bye. They just need to improve. Not necessarily this week, but going forward. I'm taking the Seahawks.
On to Packers at the Broncos. My God. The Packers are 2-3. The Broncos are 1-5. The Packers coming off a bye, 13 days rest, and the Broncos lost to the Chiefs 19-8. Over to you, mate.
Packers, I'm really glad they had the bye, so I did not have to watch them last week. And I don't really want to watch them this week with this dumpster fire of a game. The Broncos, I think this is the second last game on their schedule that they can win, and probably the last time they aren't clearly outmatched a quarterback. If Wilson plays just as bad as he did last week, he may not start again. And as a fun fact, Walmart, the owners of Walmart also own the Denver Broncos. They lose $12 billion in theft every year, and I still reckon they're more upset about this Russell Wilson contract. I'm taking the Packers.
Who's the other game that you reckon the Broncos will win?
I don't know. I did look it up earlier, but hopefully they play the Patriots.
I think that's what it is. Might need to edit this out in case they don't.
Yeah.
I couldn't be less interested in this game. Denver's defense should destroy Love and the Packers. As for the Broncos, Russ is done. He's run out of fans, and Peyton keeps saying, we've got to throw the ball better. I reckon they're going to cut him or do something. I don't know if they can cut him. I don't know what they can do, but they're just pissing money away anyway, so it doesn't really matter if they have to piss more away. It's the theft, as you said. I'm taking the Broncos. How did that take 30 seconds?
It's theft.
I just lost myself there. Should I do that
It's like
again?
you're stuck. No, I'll leave it in. It's like you're stuck between your notes, what I said, just wanting to fill 30 seconds. It's theft. It's like, the fuck?
I was looking at the clock and I was like, I thought this would take 10 seconds. And I was like, what was I saying?
Good.
Change the graphic.
Have done. Thanks.
Okay. Chargers at the Chiefs. The Chargers sitting at 2-3. The Chiefs 5-1. Chargers coming with a loss against the Dallas Cowboys 20-17, and the Chiefs beat the Broncos 19-8. At some point, the Chargers need to look at themselves and their whole operation. Kellen Moore should have had intimate knowledge of this Dallas side, and apart from their opening drive and a massive Dallas mistake, they couldn't put points up. Staley sucks. As for the Chiefs, they're 5-1. They haven't been inspiring a third of the way through the year, and their offense isn't clicking. They need to start putting some numbers up. I have complete faith in the Chiefs to do that. I have absolutely no faith in any of the coaching team or anything about the Chargers except for Justin Herbert, which is why I'm taking the Chiefs.
I've had enough of this team, the Chargers. Defense is consistently in the bottom 5 or 6 of the league since Staley got there. He's supposed to be a defensive specialist. The run game sucks. The O-line is so bad. Justin Herbert will not win a damn thing until a lot changes for this organization. They are so frustrating. They have so much talent, but they are a team of individuals. The Chiefs. Is there another QB that could go 75% accuracy, 300 yards, and not look anything near his best? This is scary for 30 other teams in the competition, just not the Lions, because they've already rolled them, taken the Chiefs.
Change the graphic.
Thank you.
Moving on to the Dolphins at the Eagles. The Dolphins 5-1, which the Eagles are as well. The Dolphins coming off a 42-21 win against the Panthers, and the Eagles coming off their first loss, 20-14 at the Jets. Over to you, mate.
This is the game of the week, and I cannot wait for it. The offense for the Dolphins is flying, and they'll test the Eagles secondary. Tua and Hill are so lethal. Cannot wait to see what they can do against this Eagles defense. Eagles, this is what happens when you fuck around. You find out. Why are you throwing the ball 45 times? You only trailed for 2 minutes the whole game. Seriously, run the ball. Give the ball to Swift. He's dominated so far this year. It was just bad coaching. Taking the Dolphins.
This game is very exciting from a week out. The Philly defense, not a week out, the Philly defense has been susceptible through the air, and I wouldn't be surprised if Tua and Hill carve them up. As for the Eagles, was this a loss they needed to have? Hurts doesn't look as good without Shane Steichen, and I would have had Miami if the Eagles beat the Jets. I don't see the Eagles losing 2 games in a row, though, which is why I'm expecting them to bounce back, and I would not be surprised if they actually ran the damn ball this week. Did I say I'm taking the Eagles? I'm taking the Eagles. Change graphic, buddy.
Well done.
On to 49ers at the Vikings. 49ers now sitting at 5-1 and the Vikings 2-4. The 49ers coming off their first loss, 19-17 against the Browns, and the Vikings beating the crappy Bears, 19-13. I don't have much to say about this game. Brock Purdy's worst game, and he still put him in a position to win. So that is impressive for me. It obviously doesn't take much to impress me. The Vikings, they're not exactly inspiring. I just don't see how this team improves. The 49ers are going to roll them.
49ers, they have the best team, and I don't want to overreact. And apart from injuries, the only thing that can ruin this team is Purdy. I think he was okay, but I think anyone would struggle without the 2 best players. But he was not looking too good against a good defense, which will come up against plenty of them. Vikings, don't care about this team. Trade Cousins, move on. I am taking the 49ers.
Cool. Right, now we're moving on to the teams who have the bye this week. The Bengals sitting at 3-3 after a 17-13 win against the Seahawks. If Burrow gets the pass to Chase a lot, they win. Is he healthy? He's healthy enough to win the games. As for the Cowboys who have the bye, they're 4-2, coming off a 20-17 win against the Chargers. Dak actually outplayed Herbert. Genuinely shocked by that. He allowed the defense to defend a lead in the last 2 minutes, and that defense can make plays. It's their first win against a quality quarterback this year for the Cowboys, and Mike McCarthy is a terrible coach. 8 seconds left in the half, could have had a shot for a touchdown and then put the field goal up. He had timeouts. He just wasted 5 seconds to kick a field goal. He clearly doesn't trust Dak, and if I was Dak, I wouldn't trust him. The Titans sitting at 2-4 after a loss against the Ravens, 24-16. And I guess we finally know what this team is. They're pretty average, and they need to rectify the quarterback situation. The Jets are 3-3 after their win against the Eagles. Robert Saleh thinks they've embarrassed every quarterback they've played. The Jets' defense is the only defense to not pick off Mac Jones. That's embarrassing, Robert Saleh. The Panthers are 0-6. They suck, and their future is pretty sucky too. The Texans are 3-3, and on Stroud's first ever pick, they got the ball back. And that's talent. What do you have to say about the teams on the bye, mate?
Not a lot. I'll talk about a couple of them. Bengals, this is my second favourite team. Defense stood up amazingly, held the Seahawks to 3 points from 4 red zone trips. I need someone to fact check that, but I'm pretty sure it's right. Burrow looked quite good on the calf. He sprinted, I think, about 10 yards towards the end of the first half, pulled up well, so great time for the bye. Cowboys, it was good to see Dak bounce back after absolutely shitting the bed last week. However, it prevented me from making another Dak highlights TikTok, which our audience love. Yeah, so there's a shame about that one. And also, can you stop getting so many damn penalties? It just reflects preparation and your shit coaching. The Jets, Wilson is doing enough to not lose games now, but he needs to do more if they want to beat good teams. But he's looking a lot better than the first 3-4 weeks, which would not be hard.
He is. As for our head-to-head tipping, you've pulled away. Of course. Yeah. I'm somehow going to still say that you're Bill Belichick and I'm Andy Reid, even though I have nothing to back that up. You're 59, I'm 54. Blowout. As I always say, please follow us on the socials, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, 30-second drill. We got some good shorts. Our TikToks, they're hilarious. Keep an eye out for them over the weekend. And once again, we have an email address for anyone who wants to be super freaking annoying. But anyway, I'll see you next week, buddy.
See you next week.
Go Patriots.
Yeah, enjoy whatever they're going to produce this week.
It's going to be freaking awful.
Let's go Lions.